Today, on the MT and Me, we take wire. We take wire connectors. And we try to fix one very disconnected alternator. It's going to be fun. Hi, Nomies, and welcome back to the MT and Me. Thanks so much for joining us once again. We're going to kick off with a little work on Pearl here. I've been promising for several weeks to try and get this alternator hookup taken care of, and we're going to try and do that right here, right now. Now, you remember the problem. We burned a wire up. Had this connection grounded to the case of the alternator when I shouldn't have, and I tried to start the engine. Well, it promptly smoked this wire. Well, I discovered my problem was on the brush connector here. This area right here, of course, this is the connection that goes to the brush, and this is where the screw goes through. Well, I had the screw in there holding it in place and a couple of metal washers that were actually connecting the screw to this piece of metal, thus grounding the connection. Big no-no. So what we've done here is get us a little plastic washer to provide some insulation. Whenever this screw goes in, the metal will not touch anymore. All right, so that's that part. The other part is going to splice some of this wire right here into this wire right here. We're going to have to cut this off. Probably, say right about there. Cut the insulation and cut that. And then I think we'll have enough to put a splice in, attach this into the splice, and then give us an inch or two and attach this connector on the other end. And this connector will fit conveniently on the connector of the brush, right like that. Push down a little further actually. But it's snug and I don't want to get it on there too tight. Okay, that's the plan. Nice and simple. Let's see if we can pull it off now. First things first, let's snip off this wire. And the insulation. No good. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get this mounted. Should have a good connection there. See about getting our brush back in. It's not wanting to tighten down. I'm missing that hole, am I? Oh, great. Oh, great. Very, very lucky. It fell at an easy spot to find. What? Way too much screw there. I need to put some additional spacing in that. Fortunately, I have a second plastic separator. It should give me maybe enough clearance. Let's give it a try and see. There we go. It's finally tightening up. You know what I need to do? I need to check and be sure that this is not grounding to the case. That's very, very important. We found that out the hard way. All right. Once again, our trusty meter. Let's set it on continuity. So let's touch the connection. And we are good. The screw is grounded. The connection is not. That's what we want. Okay, let's make our connection here. Almost got too much wire, I think. Let me grab a pair of pliers and see if I can't work that down on there a little bit. Okay, I think we have our connection back on the alternator. Seems like it's electrically sound and pretty much physically sound. That screw could stand to be a little bit tighter, but the brush assembly and the connection are firmly attached to each other, so we don't have a problem there. And the brush is held in place down inside the alternator housing, so the housing, the little brush housing itself being a little bit loose is not going to make a difference. At least I hope not. We'll find out. So, if that got our alternator hooked back up, do we dare try turning the key again to see if the engine will turn over once more now that the circuit is complete? Let me preface all that by saying I'm not sure if I damaged something else whenever we had that lead grounded on the alternator, because we turned the motor over twice, and the third time it wouldn't turn over. But that wire did not completely burn in two, so there was still sort of a connection there. It makes me wonder if I might have blown a fusible link somewhere. Well, I guess there's one way to find out. This time, I want to keep the alternator in the field of vision. Okay, it's right over there. So when I turn the key, if anything happens here, if you see any smoke over there, yell real loud. Please. I'll be watching too, though, just in case. Here goes. Well, we obviously still have another problem. Now, we don't have any smoke. That's good. And I can hear the starter solenoid clicking. That's good. But I'm not getting power to the starter. It's not even trying to turn over. We'll double check the battery. Be sure the power's there and that it's good. And then I guess we'll keep on troubleshooting. Let's check that battery voltage real quick. See what we got. Oh no, plenty of volts to start the car. Plenty. So, that leaves us wondering, what's wrong? My first guess, would be a fusible link. And that'll mean just going through the wiring bit by bit, inch by inch, until we find what might be a problem. Not going to do that today. But we got our alternator wiring repaired. I think we're good to go on that. So now the troubleshooting continues. But you know what? That's what this whole Pearl restoration project is all about. We fix one problem to make another one. And so life goes on. Okay, now for the next part of our little video excursion, I have nothing. Oh yeah, you remember I said maybe we could put the ECM here in the Equinox? Well, it didn't come. It has been delayed in delivery. So looks like it's going to be next week before I get the engine control module in that I can swap out and see if that will perhaps solve, or at least help to solve, the problem I'm having with random stalling here in this 2006 Equinox. Okay, since I didn't get the ECM, I thought, well, you know, there's another little project I've been wanting to do, and we'll just take care of that. I've been wanting to go in and clean the throttle body, and also check and clean the mass airflow sensor, because those can also cause some scattered problems and could contribute to the stalling. So I did, and I filmed it. Well, I thought I did, but for some reason I don't have that video. The camera didn't work, and so basically I worked on the car for probably about an hour, and filmed it all to no avail. I can't show you anything. I'll just have to tell you about it, okay? This is the mass airflow sensor right here. It screws into the air filter case, and then of course straps on here with a hose clamp to this connecting hose. What it does is really kind of twofold. Well, it measures the flow of air coming into the engine, mass airflow sensor. Duh. But it has two parts to it. One is what they call a hot element. It is maintained at a standard temperature, and it compares that to the air temperature, the temperature of the air coming in. And the other works with that in order to measure the actual flow of the air coming in. And it feeds all this to your ECM, that questionable part that I have, and it analyzes that and adjust a bunch of engine parameters accordingly. Things like the fuel injector rate, the spark advance, all kinds of little minor settings to keep your engine in perfect tune. So it's an important sensor, it really is. And it serves an important purpose. And you buy these little cans like this, so this is CRC, there are several brands available, of mass airflow sensor cleaner. And all you do is basically take this thing out and spray those elements from both sides. Give it 2 or 3, maybe 4 quick sprays, a few seconds at a time on one side and then the other side. And you let it dry. Now, you don't touch them, because if you touch them, you'll pretty well mess them up. So you spray them and you let it dry, and that's it. Hopefully they're clean. So I hope mine are clean. This hose that connects the airflow sensor goes into the throttle body assembly. That's this right here. This is the throttle body. This is the famous little flap valve that, you see it on the top of carburetors, if you've ever looked in those all your life. And the little valve that goes like that, that allows air to come in and join your fuel mixture in the manifold, which you can't see. It's under this plastic cover. So that's all this is. Throttle body, it regulates the air coming in. The more air, the faster you go, along with increased fuel flow and a few other things. This is the motor that actually turns that throttle body. It's a servo motor, and this is the TPS, the throttle body position sensor, that tells that wonderful little ECM computer the position the throttle body is in, so that it can use that data to further adjust all those parameters on the engine. Now, to clean a throttle body, I'll bet you've already guessed, you use throttle body cleaner. And this is throttle body and air intake cleaner. Basically, same vibe. You just spray it in, get all the surfaces wet, let it soak a minute, and then you carefully wipe it clean. You have to move the flapper around to get it clean. You really should take this thing off so you can clean the back side of it thoroughly. I did not go that far. I basically just cleaned the intake side and got what I could on the rest, and tried to get as much of the actual valve piece clean as I could. And all I can tell you is that it was pretty dirty. You can see all this carbon deposits that I got off of it in places. This was a really clean towel when I started. It's no longer clean. And so, that's a summary of all the work I did in front of a non-working camera. What can I say? It happens. Now, let's hope it doesn't happen next week, whenever I definitely hope to have that engine control module in, and we'll be able to put it here in the Equinox and see if we can make a difference in that stalling problem. You be sure and join me for that. And I'm sure we can maybe get started on investigating why Pearl's motor is still not turning over again, despite the fact that I have the alternator hooked up properly. Finally. Always something to do. Always. You'll find links below to subscribe, to buy me a coffee, and of course give me a thumbs up on this video. Subscribers still pouring in. We're bubbling just under 300 subscribers. I cannot believe I have picked up almost 100 new subscribers in the past 5 weeks or so. That is amazing. Thank you so much, Nomies. Keep them coming. The more, the merrier. And you're certainly making me merry here on the MT and Me. Even Pearl's happy about it. She told me so. Anyway, join us again next week. We'll get together and see what we can accomplish. I hope you have a great life. Until then, I'm Russ. As always, thanks a lot, my Nomies. I love you. We will talk